I would like to point out before this video gets started, that little bit there at the beginning took me an hour to make. Just to throw that out there. Welcome everybody to the WRESTLEDUDE YouTube channel, as I am here to give my predictions for NXT Takeover Pheonix, which will take place the night before the Royal Rumble here in 2019. I'm here to give my predictions. I am Jacob, the one and only WRESTLEDUDE, and I'm going to give my predictions for the 5 matches that will be taking place on the card. And speaking of the card, it is really good. This year is actually very surprising. You know, normally whenever these takeover events come about, whenever they happen, like the next night, everybody always says like, oh, the main roster's got a lot to live up to. This may be one of the rare times where the main roster pay-per-view, the Royal Rumble, and the takeover event both have such great match cards on them. Think about it. The Royal Rumble, we got Becky Lynch versus Asuka, Ronda Rousey versus Sasha Banks, AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan, Brock Lesnar versus Finn Balor. I'm not exactly excited for. And then we have the Royal Rumble matches. And also, even on the kickoff show, we got Rusev versus Nakamura and the Cruiserweight Championship Fatal 4-Way. That's going to be awesome. But we're not here to talk about the Royal Rumble. We're here to talk about NXT and NXT Takeover Pheonix. I'm trying to put as much teeth into it as Alistair Black does. You ever notice that in his promos recently, whenever he talks about TakeOver? Like, he puts so much teeth every time he says the word Pheonix. It's very weird. Anyways, kicking us off here, this is a more recent match that was announced, but these aren't really in any order. They're just kind of like, I would say maybe like my excitement level for them. Maybe that's exactly the order that they're going in. But the first matchup that I'm going to predict here is Matt Riddle versus Kassius Ohno. This is going to be a rematch from NXT Takeover War Games. At War Games, we weren't exactly supposed to have the match between Ohno and Riddle at War Games, the pay-per-view itself. But we ended up having that quick like squash match. It was like 6 seconds long, and then we had another match on NXT TV, which Matt Riddle won. So Matt Riddle is now 2-0 against Kassius Ohno, and I definitely don't think that Kassius Ohno is going to be picking up the win anytime soon here, so I am pulling out for another Matt Riddle victory. I don't know exactly where they're taking this whole Matt Riddle, Kassius Ohno, Keith Lee like storyline. Like, they like made Keith Lee like the buddy to Matt Riddle, and Keith Lee got attacked by Kassius Ohno, and and Riddle are just going back and forth. It really should have just been like the one match and have it done, and maybe even move on to just a feud between Keith Lee and Kassius Ohno. But I mean, we're still probably going to see hopefully a longer matchup than 6 seconds. Hopefully it doesn't last that short of a time, but hopefully this match is good. Hopefully Matt Riddle wins again, and hopefully we can move on from this and give Kassius Ohno something good to do. Move him up to the main roster already. Put him on Raw or SmackDown or something, please. I had a dream the other night. It was that Kassius Ohno joined Sheamus and Cesaro with the bar, because you have like the bar, they do like their little like pose where it's like the hands out like this. It would be so easy to have like those two on either side of Kassius Ohno doing this, and then Ohno with his elbow in the middle, so it's like connecting the fingers. Just put Kassius Ohno with the bar. It would be awesome. Reunite the Kings of Wrestling, and then add Sheamus in there too. But yeah, I predict that Matt Riddle will come out with the win yet again here. Anyways, coming up next, we have the Undisputed Era defending the NXT Tag Team titles against the War Raiders. This feud didn't really have that much of a build. The War Raiders were out injured for most of it. I don't know if that was real or just a work so that, who was it, Rowe could go spend some time with his newly wedded wife, Sarah Logan. Congratulations to them, by the way. But yeah, they kind of just came in like right at the end of the build, and they had that like awesome bonfire with the Undisputed Era's like steel chair with their logos on it. I don't know where the Undisputed Era could go from here if they were to win this match and lose it. Like, I don't see them staying in NXT any longer. I mean, Adam Cole did do that promo like towards the end of the beginning of the year or the end of the year last year, that they would say that the Undisputed Era were all going to win NXT Gold, but I don't see them staying in NXT that much longer. I mean, we had Adam Cole as the North American champion. The tag team titles have been on the Undisputed Era multiple times. I don't know what more they could do in NXT. I mean, I'd be surprised if they end up finding something for them to do in NXT. But I really think that there's more to do in the War Raiders here if they win the tag team titles. There's many more feuds to do. If you have the War Raiders, they're building up the Street Profits. They want to do something with the Forgotten Sons. There's a couple other tag teams in there too as well that I'm sure they're going to be building up over the coming weeks. And if it's going to be the Street Profits that get built up, then maybe I could see the Undisputed Era retaining here, and then we have the Street Profits versus the Undisputed Era. But if the War Raiders win, I could definitely see the Forgotten Sons winning that feud with the Street Profits, and then the Forgotten Sons going on to challenge the War Raiders for the NXT Tag Team titles next. But in terms of predicting here, I predict this is going to be an awesome match. After the War Raiders came to NXT, I only saw maybe like one match from Ring of Honor TV, and it was a squash match, so I looked up some more matches involving War Machine, and they were all great. And them attacking the Undisputed Era initially when like they launched Kyle O'Reilly up into the air and like power slammed them, that was awesome. I'm expecting a lot of that in this matchup, but in terms of predicting who's going to win, I predict that the War Raiders will win and become the new NXT Tag Team Champions, and that is undisputed. Up next, we have the NXT Women's Championship. Shayna Baszler defending the championship against the EST of NXT, Bianca Belair. This is another one of those weird matches, kind of like with the Undisputed Era defending their tag team titles. If Shayna wins, I don't know what else they could do with her in NXT. I mean, they obviously have the Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke at her side now, so you could have like some cool like trio versus trio thing there. But I don't think that you necessarily need the NXT Women's Championship in order to have that. Even Bianca Belair winning the #1 contenders match and going on to face Shayna Baszler was very surprising. I was watching that match. I don't really read NXT spoilers when the tapings are done, but when that match was announced, I thought maybe like it would be obviously a babyface winning it, and I thought maybe it would be Io Shirai, and then Io Shirai beats Shayna Baszler, and then she beats her in the rematch, like on an episode of NXT TV, and then when Kairi Sane came back from injury, we would have Io Shirai versus Kairi Sane for the Women's Championship at WrestleMania weekend's takeover event. But they strangely went with Bianca Belair, and I'm not saying a heel versus heel match can't work. We obviously saw it at the last takeover event with War Games, with it Velveteen Dream versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT title. And granted, Velveteen Dream is a fan favorite. He's a heel that people like to cheer. I would sort of say that's the same thing with Bianca Belair, but it's only for like the Full Sail crowd. Like, for me, like watching NXT at home, like watching it on TV, like I still see Bianca Belair as this heel, but the EST's like fans in the Full Sail arena, they like cheer her, they like do the little dance with her and everything. So it's kind of like in that weird spectrum, but I think they've built this up pretty well with Bianca Belair like coming out and saying like she's undefeated, and Shayna Baszler just comes out and says like, look, you're undefeated, but after I beat you, you won't be. Pretty basic story there. In terms of this match, I don't really know what could happen if Shayna Baszler wins. I don't really know what other rivalries she could do. I definitely see, it's basically sort of like the same thing I said for the Undisputed Era with their tag team titles. If they win, I don't really see any other feuds they could do with her. But if Bianca Belair wins the NXT Women's Championship, there are multiple great rivalries they could do there. One that I'm very excited to see. We saw them have one match is Bianca Belair versus Mia Yim. We have the EST versus the HBIC for the NXT Women's Championship. That's one that I would definitely love to see. We could also have Bianca Belair versus Kairi Sane, Bianca Belair versus Io Shirai, Bianca Belair versus Dakota Kai whenever she gets back. There are tons and tons of matches that we could have with Bianca Belair, whereas Shayna Baszler, we've kind of already seen all of them. Kairi Sane versus Baszler, we've seen that. Dakota Kai versus Baszler, we've seen that. Io Shirai versus Shayna Baszler, I think, is a match that we haven't seen, although I don't really know how much different it would be. But yeah, just in terms of predicting, I predict that Bianca Belair will come out with the win here and become the new NXT Women's Champion and remain undefeated. And your co-main event for NXT Takeover Pheonix will be Johnny Gargano versus Ricochet for the NXT North American Championship. This has the potential to be much like Alistair Black versus Johnny Gargano was at the previous TakeOver event. This has the makings of a sleeper hit right here, which is why I call it a co-main event. It's because this has the build of a main event. Like, this match kind of came out of nowhere, really, because I thought that after what happened in that steel cage with DIY and Alistair Black, that Gargano would say like, hey, I beat Alistair Black, I deserve to be in the NXT Championship match as well, and then they make it a triple threat match to have Gargano versus Ciampa versus Black for the NXT Championship like they were originally going to do. But then Ciampa like twisted the story around and made Gargano say like, hey, I want to go after the NXT North American Championship, be a champion, but not be NXT champion. So yeah, this match kind of just came sort of by Tommaso Ciampa playing Puppet Master, and this match, not really that much of a build, but I mean, I'm not going to be disappointed when this match starts. I'm not going to be sitting there on my phone freaking going like, oh, if only this match had a better build. I'm just going to be standing there or sitting there watching, probably on the edge of my seat watching this and saying like, this match is awesome, these two are awesome. In terms of who wins this matchup, Ricochet's doing fine with the NXT North American Championship, and I honestly think that Johnny Gargano's ultimate end game is going to be facing Tommaso Ciampa, probably for the NXT Championship at WrestleMania weekend, a year after their first match of that series. But yeah, this match is going to be awesome. I could see Ricochet retaining the championship here. I don't really see Johnny Gargano becoming champion here, so my prediction is going to be Ricochet. And finally, our final prediction for this match card, it is going to be Tommaso Ciampa defending his NXT Championship against Alistair Black, the rematch from their episode of NXT where Johnny Gargano cost Alistair Black the NXT Championship and helped Tommaso Ciampa become champion. This is going to be pretty freaking awesome. Their match on NXT TV was great, even with the finish with Johnny Gargano getting involved. I don't see Johnny Gargano getting involved here because they normally don't, they honestly hardly ever do like any like takeover matches that end in like controversy or something like that. You never really see like a run-in or a distraction or something like that. I mean, not in a main event sense. We've seen like Zelina Vega get involved sometimes during main events or like mid-card matches, like Almas versus Gargano in their first matchup when Zelina Vega like threw the t-shirt at Gargano. That was sort of a distraction, but that wasn't the main event. I don't really see Gargano getting involved in this one, although it'll be very interesting to see if he does get involved, whether or not he helps Tommaso Ciampa again, or perhaps he's just double bluffing, helps Alistair Black win back the NXT Championship, and then at TakeOver New Orleans, or not TakeOver New Orleans, what would it be? TakeOver WrestleMania weekend, we get Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano again, not with the NXT Championship involved, and Alistair Black just has a feud with somebody else, which I think is highly unlikely, which is why I think that they're going for Tommaso Ciampa versus Alistair Black. No, not that. Which is why I think they're going for Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT title at WrestleMania's TakeOver event. So I would honestly see Tommaso Ciampa retaining here, and I honestly think that Alistair Black is headed up to the main roster of Raw or SmackDown after this. I think he just had one more matchup to do to clean up some loose ends. But in terms of predicting, I would say that Tommaso Ciampa retains the NXT Championship here, and we move on to Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT title WrestleMania weekend. So those are my predictions for NXT Takeover Pheonix. Let me know your predictions in the comment section below, and what match are you looking forward to the most? Is it the Women's Championship match, the Tag Team title match? Is it Riddle versus Kassius Ohno, Johnny Gargano versus Ricochet, or Alistair Black versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship? Let me know in the comment section below. Other than that, I have been Jacob from the WrestleDude YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys next time.